Okay, so we have this question right here. You have like a simple pendulum that has a period of 2 seconds on Earth, and calculate what the period would be if the pendulum was on planet Venus. You have mass and radius of Venus. So first step I always say is just write the values or values you have. So you have time for Earth, and then you have radius and mass for Venus, right? So now the second step is to identify the formula that you will use actually. So the formula that I will use, basically, that I could think of from the values is the pendulum period of pendulum of simple, you can say, period of simple pendulum formula, which is T is equals to 2 pi square root L by G, right? So there are two ways to do it. You can do it a long way, or you can do it a shorter way, a shortcut, right? So the long way is that you need to find the T for Venus, right? So you need to find the gravitational field strength for Venus and the length of the pendulum, right? So for length of the pendulum, you will do the TE, same formula, right? TE 2 pi square root L by G. You have the gravitational field strength for the Earth, which is, 9.81. And you have the time. So if you input, you will get the length, and then you will input the length, and then you will find the GV, which is gravitational field strength for the Venus. So you will use gravitational field strength formula, which is G is equal to GM by R square. You input the values, you get the value for the G, and you input it, and then you will get TV. So as you can see, it's a very long method. So the shorter method is, right, we could actually do it like this. TV by TE is equals to square root of GE by GV. Now I will tell you how this expression came, right? If you want to skip ahead, you can skip ahead. But for those who don't know how this expression came, I can show you right now. So you need time for Venus, right? So time for Venus comes up, and then you have time for Earth, so you keep it down right here, okay? So later on you don't have this, like I will show you. If you keep the time Venus down, then you have to do one extra step, which is, boring. So just keep the value you're finding, right, upwards. So you're finding the time Venus, so you keep it up, and write the formula for TV, which is 2 pi square root L by G, and sorry, V by 2 pi square root L GE. Okay, so now you can eliminate this. They both have the same thing. Now you're left with square root L by GV over square root L by GE. Okay, so now if you want to write it in a simple way, you can just write it as square root LGV, right? To understand it much more simple way. So 1 by square root of L, which is GE. Okay. So now, as you can see that you want this, you don't want this, but actually you can make this denominator to go to the numerator, so that's much easier to solve. Okay. So let me write it here. So it will be just, you have to switch the values. So it will be L by GV times square root GE by L, right? So you just switch the values so that you can remove this 1 by stuff. So now you, for square roots, specifically for square roots, if two square roots are multiplying, you can just combine them in a single square root, right? For example, if you have square root 2 square root of 2 times square root of 3, you can just write it as square root of 6, right? You can multiply the values inside them. Okay, so I will do the same thing here. So it's L times GE by GV times L, right? So L is same, so you can remove L. Now you're just left with square root GE by GV. Okay, so this is how you get to this expression right here. Let me remove everything and write it properly. So you have TV by TE is equals to square root of GE by GV, right? So if you have switched it, I did not explain, if you have switched it, then you would have, you would have this right here. Okay, you would have TE by TV equals to square root GE by GV, right? And then you would have to, because you have the TE value, right, and you want TV, so you have to switch this TE there, and it becomes 1 by TV, and now you have to switch all of the values and blah blah blah. So it's like a very long process. So that's why I said just keep the time for basically the period or the time for the pendulum on planet Venus to be upwards, right? So at the top. So now if you input the values, so it's TV and shift this to the right side, okay? So it's TE. TE value is 2 times GE is 9.81, and for GV we can use the formula that I've shown you is gravitational field strength for the Venus is G capital G M and R square. So you input the values that you have been given. So G has a constant value which is 6.67 times 10 raised to power minus 11, and then you can input the mass value which is 4.87 times 10 raised to power 24. You can get this capital G value from your formula sheet, right? And you divide the R square, which is 6.05 times 10 raised to power 6, okay? And now if you solve this in your calculator, you will get your time Venus as 2.10 seconds, right? I have the rounded off value. So yeah, this is your answer, right? 2.10 seconds, right?